All right, time to talk to Brian Scalabrine, who's very likable, and he's brought to you by Shots and Star Market, Perfecting the Art of Fresh, also by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know when the drains don't flow, and by findmassmoney.gov. Mr. Scalabrine, how are we doing today, sir?
Great. It's a good little break for me before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm doing well. You guys?
We're doing great, and it's great to be on with you here the day before Thanksgiving. I want to hear about what your Thanksgiving is going to be like, but first of all, we were just reading some numbers about the Philadelphia 76ers. We talked to you about them last week, and we'll get to the Celtics, obviously, but are you enjoying the downfall of the 76ers, or do you prefer that they're competitive and that the Celtics have more kind of peers right now?
I mean, I don't really do that. Like, I can only just, it's like I don't root for people to be bad or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
And I also don't root to be right. Like when I was like, you're not going to be good with Joel Embiid and Paul George. The NBA is shifting. It's becoming a faster league, a more cutting league, and you play slow and methodical. I think I was on air with you guys a couple of weeks ago. I said, like, the Bucks, they play a little bit methodical, and like that doesn't work anymore. It's just like there's been adjustments to the game, and so everyone, remember Tim, my boy Tim Bontemps is like, best big three in the NBA. I called him out. I said, you're crazy. That's not the best big three. They play too slow. And I mean, behold, it's just like those guys are not good enough. They're not fast enough. They don't play fast enough. It's more than just Joel Embiid's injury.
The Porzingis return, was it what you expected, better than you expected? What did you make of it all?
It was a reminder that no one's beating us in a 7-game series. I mean, unless like, Horford's awesome. Like, Horford's been awesome, but when Porzingis picks and pops from 30 feet out, you have no choice. Like, you're either going to put 2 on Tatum and give him a 3, or you're going to put you're going to shade your guy towards Porzingis, and Tatum's going to turn the corner, or Brown's going to turn the corner. So. Listen, it's a big overreaction. Like that night, Clippers were, they were dogging it, whatever the reason is. But we look amazing. I don't know. I don't see how, if we're healthy, I don't see how anybody can beat us when we're all playing at this level. And I think it was also a reminder, like watching Tatum and Brown with Porzingis out there, they've improved a ton. They've improved. White, Holiday, all those guys have all improved, and then Porzingis is coming back.
It's funny you bring that up. If you were a coach of an opposing team, and let's say, I don't know, you have a generic NBA good playoff roster, how would you approach it? How would you try to make the Celtics uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only one way to kind of do that, and they've been cracking that code as well. It's funnel everybody to a shot blocking dig, rotate around it, rotate and take away threes, rely on having 3 centers that could defend a rim. Like before Indiana got hurt, they had like kind of the roster that can do that. I don't know how physical they are on the perimeter, but you need like physical defenders. It'll be like if and like just a makeup of like the Nets with 3 shot blocking Claxtons, right? Like you would need something like that, and make the Celtics earn it from the free throw line. Put them on the line, make them make a ton of plays at the rim. That's really the only way I would think that you can beat them. But their decision-making is elite, like the way that they move the ball and they read the rim. And, it's like being in rotation is a losing proposition for any team, especially when you're playing a team that can really move the ball the way they do. So that is, I feel like that's the only way to do it. But I still feel like the way that Tatum and Brown are playing and the way that they're reading the game, then I still think that they would get wide open shots, and you would just hope that they would miss them.
How would you characterize Joe Mazzulla in his 3rd season now, or his 2nd season, I should say? Or no, wait, it is his 3rd season. How would you characterize his ability to adjust to those things you were just describing? I mean, you did see Golden State sort of blitzing Jason Tatum, guys defending the 3-point line more so. A very analytic-driven head coach in Joe Mazzulla. How do you think he's been handling all that, and how do you think the team's been responding?
Well, let me just argue the analytic, part of it. He always says 3s are worth more than 2s and all that stuff. But, I think what they're trying to do is get layups and dunks. I do believe they're trying to get layups. He's just not going to get mad at the guy when the guy takes, when they take 53s, right? But, I think Joe has doubled down on the reads, and I think that reading the game, like Tatum and Brown getting off the ball, you see behind the back dribbles or passes by Tatum. So they doubled down on ball movement. They doubled down on 3-point shooting. And for the most part, the only times I feel like we're not phenomenal is when we had those lulls like in the second and third, right? And then I'll give you credit, like the Golden State game and blitzing Tatum, that was something new, and they did it super aggressively. So that would be something that you'd have to deal with. But if Porzingis is out there, that's like I think that's a non-starter when it comes to just leaving Porzingis that wide open. But overall, like I think that he's took what he did last year or the year one and took what he did last year, and I think he's doubled down on it, and I think we're better for it. And the biggest thing, doesn't really matter what we think. It matters what the players think, and the players have bought into it as well. So if those guys have bought into it, you just have to assume that this team is going to be really good because of it.
Derek White is fifth, I think, right now in plus-minus in the NBA. I think you guys at NBC Sports Boston last year had a little campaign to try to get him an all-star nod. Could this be the year? Could he be an all-star for the Celtics this year?
Oh, you know what? I don't usually do that until like January, but like I have to really like go through the Eastern Conference and look at it. But I can't like name three guards that you think are better. It's like really hard. Is someone going to pick, like, let's say Milwaukee's been playing better, but is someone going to pick Damian Lillard over a third Celtics? Maybe. So I maybe this is the year that he does it. But I think you should re-ask that question to me a little bit later in December, January, because a lot of stuff could happen. What's going on in Philadelphia? Tyrese Maxey. Is Orlando Banchero going to play enough? Like, you just got to go through the list and like list the 12 or 13 guys that are going to make it and decide like if Derek White's going to do it. It's not going to be voting. We know that, right? So let's scratch that off the list. It's weird how we make a big campaign about vote for this guy, vote for that guy. It always comes down to the coaches, which I disagree with, by the way. I think you should like pick 10 and then the coaches pick 2. But whatever. That's just the way that they do it. But ask me again in December, and I'll dive into it, and then we'll take a look. But I don't see why not. His numbers are incredible. His fourth quarter numbers, and I think coaches value Derek White. I will say this: I don't think the defenses are tilting as much to Tatum and Brown and leaving Derek White as much in the fourth quarter. I think at least the last 2 weeks. So his impact has been pretty high for this team.
I'm not a analytics guy, numbers guy in most sports, but I brought up plus-minus, and when I was looking that up, it sort of jumped out at me. Like the Knicks have 5 of the top 14 plus-minus guys in the NBA, and obviously the Celtics got a couple in the top 5. Like, how much stock do you put in plus-minus stats? Do you look at those? Do they tell you a story? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I can help you with that one. Like, the Knicks like to play guys together, and then they'll play like a second unit.
Okay.
Right? It's the guys who have to blend lineups, right? Like when you put a stud player with a backup group. Now, our backup groups are pretty awesome. Like we have like that Tatum, Pritchard, Hauser, Horford, right? That's a great group, right? So a lot of times, like when you see high plus minus guys from like a group of people, it means there's not a lot of mixing, or you don't have you don't put like Jalen Brunson out there with 5 bench or 4 bench guys, right? So his plus minus stays pretty high, right? That's kind of how it works. And most star players, their plus minus takes a hit when they go to the bench, but ours kind of works. But I look at plus minus over the course of a year. We do look at it from a game to game basis, but over the course of a year, like net rating plus minus, it just shows that you're a winning player. But it also shows that you got a really good team and you're on a really good team. So like, we've had guys coming off the bench that had high plus minuses. That's huge for a team that shows like a championship level of a team.
Scal, who's your favorite non-Celtics team to watch, and who's your favorite non-Celtics player to watch in the NBA this year?
Jokic for sure. Like it's not even close. Like I will watch him. My son loves Curry, so I get a lot of Curry at the house because he wakes up in the morning and he watches. We have the league pass, so he'll watch the game from the night before. One of my favorite teams right now, Memphis, Oklahoma City. Those guys are good. I got to be honest with you. Like I haven't found. Cleveland. Cleveland's actually really good. I watch Cleveland a lot. So like those would probably be the top teams. I dabble a little bit with Brooklyn because of their cutting. And I'm like, I coach my AAU team. I'm always looking for new ideas. I think they're one of the better cutting teams in the NBA. So, like with that, but I think like those kind of groups, they play super hard. I think I kind of tend towards teams that move the ball and bomb threes. I just kind of like that. So I kind of watch teams like that. And then with Memphis, you have Ja Morant is like a freak of nature. So you never know what he's capable of doing.
We've been seeing clips online after some of these more recent games, Clippers, Minnesota. And I don't know how close you are if you even talk with any of these opposing broadcast teams, but it seems like they're getting really frustrated with the Celtics. Like, it just, I can't believe this. They're spending all this money. They're going to be in the second apron. They're going to have to trade Porzingis. They're mad that Pritchard's hitting threes. Like, does it seem like the Celtics are breaking the brains of opposing fan bases and broadcasters to you?
Yeah, we talk about that a lot on the morning show as well. Like, people don't like the fact that they're good. And it's like, and the fact that they move the ball, a lot of people in general don't like three-point shooting, and they do it, but they're actually really good at it. So everyone's trying to play catch up to the Celtics, and they're bombing threes, yet they're going like 9 for 45 against them. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of that. I think people don't love the Celtics the way they do things, and, you know, like, I don't know what's not to like. Like, name a player on this team that's unlikable. People have said other, guys are unlikable, but I look at this group as like, you got star players who grew up and they didn't share the ball and now they do. You have a Hall of Famer like Drew Holiday who makes sacrifices and all the time, and defensively he's awesome. You got Porzingis who bounced around and loving life here. Al Horford, like one of our generation's most winning player who's never won a championship, finally did. It's like, Peyton Pritchard, who doesn't love him, Hauser, like, he's a good team. I don't understand. A lot of people even like Cato league-wide. So, my circles are different than what, like, opposing fans, but I do think there's a lot to like about this team, and I do believe that people are getting bored with the Celtics and how good they are, because I think it's just a reminder. Everybody's having these teams and free agency and all that, and Porzingis comes back, and just how we let off this interview, I think most people are saying, like, you're not beating the Boston Celtics in 7 games unless something drastic happens.
I'm assuming you saw that Cooper Flag dunk that went viral last night. So I was just wondering, he's the projected number 1 overall pick in the draft. How much have you crossed paths with him, and what type of a potential franchise player do you think he is?
Yeah, so you guys know my story with Cooper Flag or not really?
I do not.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, like, when he was in Maine,
yep.
I know his workout coach really well, and he tells me, like, man, I got this 14-year-old that's here, and he plays against college kids and he dominates them. I'm like, get the hell out of here. I use like a different 4-letter word, right? And I was like, well, I got a good gym. Like, this gym that we got a bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids. I've been working, to stay in shape. I work out with this group. Like, we have like this cool understanding, whatever. So he comes down to our pickup at 14. And he just dominates, right? I'm like, this guy's from a different planet, man. I've never seen anything like that, right? And it's not just the dunks and everything like that. It's more than that. So I called Duke up the next day. I said, I got this kid that he wants to go to Duke. And it kind of blew me off, right? So John Shire blew me off at first. Then I called USA Basketball, and I said, I got this kid. You guys got to check him out. And they kind of like scoffed at it. I don't know, white kid from Maine. Like, how good can he be? That whole thing. Until they saw him down at EYBL Peach Jam. And those guys now, they hit me up, be like, yo, man, thanks. Thanks for the connection. So, his brother this summer played on my AAU team, and he lived with me. So because the parents are going all over the place with Cooper and like USA Basketball and stuff. So Ace, who now is committed to UMaine, he just kind of like worked out with me 3 times a day, just kind of lived here, and it was good, man. I have a good relationship with the family and everything like that. I think he'll be a projected number 1 pick. I don't know, I really don't know how good he's going to be. Like, are you a Hall of Famer? Are you an All-Star? Are you a starter? I have no idea. I just know, like, when it comes to basketball, he learns it so fast. So whatever you're seeing right now, I think he'll be 10x better by the time March rolls around.
All right, Scal, there's no game tomorrow. You don't have to work again until Friday. What's your Thanksgiving spread looking like, and what's the first side you're going for?
Yeah, so it's interesting. My family wanted to go back to Seattle, and we got to go to Chicago. So I'm actually catching a flight tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning to Chicago, and I'm doing sort of Thanksgiving solo, and the family's out in Seattle. So we've already kind of celebrated it. I'm not actually a really simple guy. Like, I like turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, like the whole thing. Like, there's nothing like that's different. It's just, I think, the way that my wife would prepare all that stuff. So standard Thanksgiving guy. The only thing I do is a little bit different. We usually eat at like 1 o'clock. We start cooking early and stuff like that. But that's it. Scalabrine tradition is just having Thanksgiving dinner, which would be more like lunch for us.
All right, very good. Brian Scalabrine, safe travels tomorrow. Have a very good holiday, and we'll talk to you again next week, okay?
Sounds good. See you.
All right, Brian Scalabrine joining us here on WEEI Afternoons.